WrestleTalk!
It was only a matter of time. Of course, Omos is getting a WWE Championship push. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Lukewarm Luke Owen, D.A.D. Welcome to the Monday Night Raw Review podcast, which today is brought to you by the wonderful service Geology. What's Geology, Luke?
It is men's skincare reimagined, rejuvenated, just made better. If you click the link in the video description down below, you can take a free quiz and it will tell you, it will pick out a regiment for you. Look at this. Look at Ollie Davis's smooth skin that has been created by using Geology for just a handful of weeks. But hey, guess what, Oliver Davis?
What?
Not only is the quiz free, because Geology love us and we love Geology, if you use our promo code WRESTLE50, you get 50% off your first Geology order. Click the link below, use the promo code that's listed in that description as well. Thank you to Geology for sponsoring us, and thank you for giving us much better skin.
This is my favorite thing to do.
Oh no! Also because of the autofocus as well. Like it's just all you.
But look at that. Look at the skin. Genuinely.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Genuinely, I had flaky eyebrows, but now no flake no more. I've been using it for 2 weeks, morning and evening. Excellent service.
Oh, and look at the quality of that camera as well. Ow. Let's wait for it.
Sorry, I snorted there. Oh, yeah, everyone saw my shorts as well. I'm dressed for PE.
Right.
Yes, we'll be going through the box later. So, Raw, WWE.
Yeah.
It was actually okay. I didn't mind this episode.
So the news was McMahon wasn't there at Raw today, but he was like on the phone to Bruce Pritchard going, Bruce, do this, tear up the script and read it. And like this was an episode that felt like, oh yeah, that script got torn up just before the show started. And the reason for that is because, I mean, an hour and a half of it was one tag team turmoil thing.
But that's okay.
It's fine.
I like the idea.
It's what WWE do when they're out of ideas. It's just like, just do a tag team, do some sort of turmoil match that takes up 90% of our show.
WWE are far behind other promotions in the world on many things. But gauntlet matches, I think consistently, they are excellent. And it's not like anyone else is really doing them, but WWE, when they do, you know you're in for a good time. So the way this worked, we had loads of Franken teams. I think there was actually only one real, maybe 2 real tag teams in there.
There was
the
3.
whole thing.
You had New Day, Lucha House Party, and the Viking Raiders.
And that's it? A Retribution, would you call them?
Oh, no, they're not a Franken team. They've got... Yeah, they're a team.
Okay, so half of the competitors were not real teams. Anyway, it gets to a point halfway through the show after the first half that Retribution beat everyone up too much. They're not called that anymore. Mason T-Bar. And then it jumped, like Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce were like, no, we cannot possibly continue this tag team turmoil match like we have done with every single other one ever when there's a big beatdown angle of all the competitors.
And then there's like, it will happen, it's just going to happen later on in the show. Also, we've now added an extra team to it.
Yeah.
So at the end, it was just the 4 teams of New Day, Mansoor and Ali, AJ and Omos, and Bobby Lashley and MVP. So like a cool little like fatal 4-way thing in the end. May as well have just done a fatal 4-way tag team match or something along those lines, whatever it is.
Time to fill though.
I thought the angle that they did when Retribution beat down the New Day, and then Mansoor and Ali came down, who were next in line for the thing, and Mansoor is like, Ali is yelling at Mansoor, don't get in the ring, this is not our time, like, let's just wait there, we can get the easy win. And Mansoor's like, no, I'm such a baby face, I have to go and save the other baby faces. I love him so much, but I love Ali as well, because I can totally see Ali's point of view of it. And what happened? Mansoor got his ass kicked. And Ali was like, oh, now I've got to go in there and help him. And then Ali gets his ass kicked. And I thought to myself, and I think I wrote in my notes, this is a great angle. Also, genius way to have both the babyface teams at a disadvantage so that you don't have a fresh babyface team taking advantage of a weakened babyface team.
Yeah.
And then they just said, no, we're ending this match now. We're doing it in an hour and a half's time. And I was like, oh, well, that's killed all the drama of this gauntlet match. All the momentum and drama you had, gone. And I think this is classic Vince on the phone, writing themselves into a corner, which is that, like, we're going to open the show with the tag team turmoil, kid. But then when they added Bobby Lashley to it, it was like, well, can't put Bobby Lashley that on early in the show. Bobby Lashley's got to be in the main event. So you figure it out. How on earth can we do this? Well, yeah, you booked yourselves into this position. You've made these rules for yourself. And that's how we ended up with the situation we did.
I think, by the way, on Ali and Mansoor, a thinking man's RK Bro.
Yes, absolutely. Like that.
Not as highly pushed, but there's a lot going on there psychologically. I like it.
I'll do you one better.
Ooh.
It's a better Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that it certainly is.
That's my spicy hot take for the week.
So it restarts in the last half hour of the show. New Day advance against Ali and Mansoor. AJ and Omos come down. They beat the New Day because, that's another thing that would have worked so much better if the New Day hadn't had an hour to recover.
Yeah, it's the Roman Reigns being taken out of the Royal Rumble and having a bit of a nap.
So now you would have been like, okay, you are a bit fresher. It would have protected them more in defeat if they were beaten by AJ and Omos without the restart. Anyway, then the main event is Bobby Lashley and MVP versus AJ and Omos. We've got Riddle and Randy Orton at ringside for all the tag team turmoil matches. Randy looked bored.
Oh, well, he's watching wrestling.
And it's MVP's home state. So MVP's in the ring. Everyone's like, MVP. And he's just like, tag out. I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
But it was a heel versus heel match. And Lashley and MVP sort of ended up being the baby faces. The crowd were cheering them. Crowd cheered for a lot of stuff on this show, and they were super hot for this main event. And it goes back to the reptilian part of your brain, big man exciting. When you got Lashley facing off against Omos in the ring, you're lying if you don't sit up and go, hello.
This doesn't get said a lot on the internet, I would argue. Vince is right. He is everyone's been like, oh man, Vince is going to kill NXT with all of his big man nonsense and stuff. I think Vince is right because Lashley's in the ring, right, and Omos gets in, and this ripple through the crowd of being like, oh man, this is exciting. This crowd were very good all night, but the things they were the loudest for was Alexa Bliss challenging Charlotte Flair for the belt, and Omos doing a tie-up with Lashley, doing a test of strength with Bobby Lashley. This crowd treated it like it was Hogan versus Warrior at WrestleMania. It was like Hogan, they were like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And there's moments where you're like, oh yeah, Vince is right. There's a reason why Vince McMahon has been the world's greatest promoter for the last 200 years. It's because he knows what his audience wants.
Vince is right in regards to sports entertainment.
Yeah.
Nobody does it better. I mean, the problem is, no one else is doing it. Everyone else is trying to do wrestling, and Vince actually can't do sports entertainment that well because he forgets what's going on, the storylines don't make any sense. If Raw made sense, it would be an awesome show.
Pretty good. It's got a great roster.
Yeah. But the idea of having these sports entertainment style guys heading up your sports entertainment company does make total sense. As much as we love him, Adam Cole does not factor into that style.
That crowd wouldn't have popped as loudly for Adam Cole tagging in to face up against Bobby Lashley.
And that's why he's better in AEW, which is a company where that is the style. It's a perfect fit. So, yeah, credit to WWE, and here they did it. I was amazed at how small Bobby Lashley looked.
I know, right? Looked tiny compared to Omos.
Weird.
And I think they did you said in your review, it's weird that they made Bobby Lashley feel so small.
Not in I didn't mean that as a criticism. I was just genuinely, that's strange.
Because I've rewatched it because I was trying to get a picture for this thumbnail on this video. Oh, it's really good actually. Thanks for your advice.
Private joke.
So I watched it twice, and the commentators did a really good job of keeping Omos feel like oh my god, this giant colossus man, and like look how much he is manhandling Bobby Lashley, who has never been doing this. But then Bobby Lashley drags him into the corner and starts doing shoulder blocks. Corey Graves masturbating furiously is like, have you imagined what's going on?
So I don't think the camera didn't catch your wrist. Can you do that again?
Can you imagine what's going on? Like, because Bobby Lashley was now manhandling Omos in the corner. And like Corey he was so excited by this, as was Jimmy Smits and Byron. Oh, I could hear Vince McMahon like masturbating from home, like to Bruce Pritchard. It was genuinely tremendous. And some people have taken us to task for our thumbnail and our title this week because, clickbait. That's not what happened. Why are you making stuff up? Why can't you just talk about what happened on Raw?
We are.
I'm sorry. If you didn't watch this episode and think like, yeah, they're grooming Omos to be a future WWE Championship contender, you're out of your goddamn mind.
Because what happened at the end of this tag match, Bobby hit
the spear on AJ.
That's it. Yeah, Omos took people outside. AJ was going for the phenomenal forearm, Lashley reverse spear, Lashley wins. But he gets up, and there's Omos, while Bobby's celebrating, awful looking tree slam.
Yeah.
Lays out the WWE champion.
Yeah.
And then he sort of walks off with AJ, and then Randy Orton, as Bobby's gotten to his feet, RKO, because that's the Extreme Rules title program, you building that. But yes, it became very clear. I've always known it somewhere deep down, but this angle with Omos and Bobby, the way they were in the ring, like, maybe Omos won't win the title, but this is definitely building to Lashley versus Omos. And that will be a hell of a visual, but it falls down quite hard because he can't wrestle.
It's all right, just keep it to 6 minutes.
You think it can be a good...
Don't go long. Don't go long with it. Just keep it to 6 minutes. Just half of that is test of strength. What have you thought?
Goldberg challenged Bobby not for the title.
Oh, so you think Omos wins the title off Bobby, and then Omos is the champion going into Saudi Arabia? I don't know. I think it's just Bobby Lashley.
There's not enough time, surely.
There's not enough time. I think Bobbles is still champion going into Saudi Arabia, but it's a non-title match with Goldberg. And then Bobbles can defend it against Omos at TLC, whatever it is, in December.
Maybe Omos costs Lashley the match and Goldberg pins him.
We should also say as well, Vince changed his mind on a dime. 2 weeks ago,
big guy though.
2 weeks ago, the plan was it's Alexa Bliss versus Charlotte Flair at Extreme Rules.
It still is.
Then last week it was it's Charlotte Flair versus Nia Jax at Extreme Rules. And now this week it's Charlotte Flair versus Alexa Bliss at Extreme Rules. So this could all be forgotten about in a week's time. And they'll just pretend that none of this ever happened. Because there is every chance that it's going to be RK Bro versus AJ and Omos at the pay-per-view. Because, and I can't believe this. So Bobbles and MVP win this tag team turmoil match. So they get a shot at RK Bro. It's on next week's episode of Raw. Why don't you do that at the pay-per-view?
What, the tag match?
Yeah.
Because it's a tag match?
But the whole story that you're telling here is...
Put all the titles on the line.
Well, no, I wouldn't say do as two separate matches. Maybe open and close the show. Because the story they're talking about at the moment is Bobby said last week, I want to be a double champion, so I'm going to take the tag belts off you. And Randy on this week said that idea of being a double champion appeals to me. I'll take your WWE
Not
championship.
Bad shout, yeah.
So if you open the show, you open the pay-per-view with the tag match, and if you have Randy Orton and you have RK Bro win, you've got the whole storyline then throughout the night of will Randy Orton become a dual champion? Or do you have Bobbles and MVP win, and then it's can Randy Orton end this night with a championship?
I think that's pretty decent.
Don't do it on TV, because we just had that match last week as the main event on TV, and I saw the good guys win. So just do it on pay-per-view with something a little bit different about it, as opposed to do the same match again.
Well, let's see what you guys think in your Ultra chats. WrestleTalk.com/support. Get in your chats there. We'll read out everyone over $5 US. Breaking Sydney says, great review, Luke and Ollie. AEW shows that great wrestling and storytelling can be the draw. Oh, this is a missed chat from yesterday. Can be the draw. It's great to see lapsed fans come out of the woodworks and trying to find out what's going on. Jam that jam.
Jam that jam.
James Dobinson. The tag team turmoil matches were actually pretty good, but utterly pointless, as it was obvious from the opening segment that Lashley and MVP would win. They weren't always a part of it, were they?
So they said at the start, we're going to go speak to DeVille and Pierce and get ourselves added in.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the worst thing, that it was obvious that they were the ones going to win. I actually quite like that.
James continues, not a fan of Lashley feuding with tag champ Orton, but he is arguably the only worthy contender, so...
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's kind of, I said it in my review, because they haven't created any new stars, and Bobby's beaten everybody, including, like, the Goldbergs of this world, there's nothing else for them to do, so all of the men's titles have come into the same storyline, which isn't so bad. Like, that's a cool thing to do every now and again. And you've got the draft coming up next month, and you can just change everything up.
Yeah, and the story they're telling is this whole dual champions thing. So I think it kind of works that it's, that they're all sort of like wrapped up into this. And yeah, and as James pointed out, Randy does feel like the only guy that could challenge Bobby at this point.
Yeah. The only other guy is Drew, but he's been done to death, and he can't.
Yeah.
Anthony
and
Velasquez.
he's going to SmackDown.
Anthony Velasquez. By Raw standards, I gave the show a 2 out of 5, but it's hard not to compare this show to an awesome AEW show on Sunday, and just shows how disjointed WWE shows are right now, and have been for a very long time.
Slightly unfair. One of them is a pay-per-view, the other one's a TV show. And also, it's just, with Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson debuting and Ruby Soho and Minoru Suzuki, it's very hard to compare those two together. Like, that is comparing apples and oranges.
By Raw's standards, the last 2 weeks have been the best 2 back-to-back weeks of the whole year.
Yeah, I thought today's show was totally fine.
Exactly.
It's totally fine.
James Robinson. I can already see everyone in the ring working together to eliminate Omos from every Royal Rumble for the next few years. In other words, he's the new Big Show in Vince's eyes. Oh, a moist TV with Kross.
Ooh.
Oh, it was painful to watch.
Yeah, wasn't it just?
Tem Ruzza. Guys, I just couldn't bring myself to watch Raw today, and it starts at an easy 10 a.m. here in Melbourne. Melbourne. All Out was just too good and the buzz is still there. I didn't want to ruin that. Interesting WWE focused on tag teams today, isn't it? Much love, AEW.
Some people said this on the Fightful show as well, being like, oh man, isn't it weird? Like, or do you think Vince McMahon watched this and the other? I was like, there isn't a cat's hell in chance that Vince McMahon watched All Out. I would wager Vince doesn't know anything that happened on All Out outside of the fact that Daniel Bryan debuts.
Yeah, he doesn't even know who Adam Cole is.
And the Scooby-Doo.
I thought he was a production runner.
Wasn't that Shawn Michaels from 1995? He time traveled to meet me. Like, he would have been given cliff notes of what happened, and he wouldn't have cared.
Plus, like, it's fitting in WWE's direction of Raw anyway.
Yeah.
They already had the tag team stuff set up last week. The Guilty Hat. Maybe just me, but Ali and Mansoor's story is the only thing I have any interest left in WWE. It's just a delightful story and feels like they're involved in where the story's going. Almost like Vince isn't involved at times, potentially. Fezzi. Omos will be WWE's homegrown Goldberg. He's green. He goes for 2 minutes and he will be the champ. And it will fail gloriously. Will he also get colour before he even leaves his locker room? So the cut there. I don't know. I think like Goldberg wasn't a great wrestler, but he had an explosiveness about him, and he did a few moves that look spectacular. I've not seen Omos do a single thing that looks good.
No, Omos is a walking Giacomo advert, and he can do a tree slam poorly. He can stand. He can be tall. That's what Omos is really good at, which is great in a tag team with AJ Styles. He's so good at being tall as an in-ring worker. But you know what? When you're 12 foot tall, you don't need to be, because you just need to be able to do tree slams and some overhead chops and some tests of strength.
It's the Great Khali, 2021.
It's the Great Khali, and what a great champ Great Khali was.
Did you just say tramp?
Yeah, and he was
What a tramp.
what an absolute tramp that man was.
Well, don't look like a tramp yourself.
Oh,
Get
nice.
your skin in order with geology.
Geology. Click the link in the video description down below. Basically what it is a quiz, and that quiz will ask you what you want to get out of geology. This is legit my end geology, actually, because I took the quiz, it found my regiment for me, and it told me this is what you need to do. This is your day care, this is your night care routine, and I have been using it for the last month or so now, nearly getting on 2 months, and it's been so good. My skin feels so much better off the back of it, and I think I look pretty good as well.
Honestly, do. I said it to you the other week. I was like, your cheeks look really smooth.
It's worked out really well, and it's such a simple quiz to take. And if you use our promo code, which is down there in the video description below, Wrestle50, 50% off your first geology order. Great. Well, we've really enjoyed working with geology, so thank you so much to them for sponsoring today's episode of the WrestleTalk Podcast.
Yeah, they're awesome. Really can't recommend them enough. Just everything from how it's done. I've tried to do skincare before, and I get confused. Like, how much do I put on though? Is it a little pipette drop or what? And it's down to like, you just need one squeeze. But they tell you everything. So yeah, very recommended. And it helps support us as well if you click the link. So this episode of Raw began with sort of a cold open on people backstage, all the people involved in the tag team turmoil match, and they're getting over their characters. I thought each one brought something different. Kofi Kingston's back. Ali and Mansoor are like, you just don't try anything too good, kid. I thought this was good.
Yeah, really good. I appreciate Xavier Woods' shout out to Adam Cole as well. It was very nice.
He said baby.
He did say baby, yeah. It was very
Naughty.
Naughty. He gets away with that sort of thing. But I thought this was really good. It established all the team. If you're a first-time viewer, you need to know everything about these teams. New Day are really cool. Lucha House Party are there. Mansoor and Ali have this, oddball chemistry they've got together. And Retribution are boring.
It wasn't like a really bad Retribution promo. It wasn't the classic, here's the thing. Anteaters, aardvarks, abacuses. Yeah, we're gonna eat them all. What? The main show opened with Randy Orton and Matt Riddle coming out. The crowd are just going crazy for them. Randy cuts like a big babyface promo to open the show. Riddle does comedy, which is pretty good these days. But then Lashley and MVP came out. This is where they sort of set up the Extreme Rules title match.
Yeah, so Randy was like, I'd love to have a match with Bobby, and Bobby's like, I want to have a match with you. And he said, I'll only do it if I'm going to put the title on the line at Extreme Rules, and MVP accepted. So yes, that's our title match. WWE Championship, Bubbles versus Randy. I think that should be pretty good, actually.
I'm surprised I'm into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed Riddle's comedy that he did here when he was talking about how we'll get matching jackets. He was going through all of the guys, we can get this like the New Day, we'll get this like the Viking Raiders. And I think he was talking about Mansoor and Ali. It's like, we'll get some of their sweet jackets, but I know you don't like sleeves, so I'll get my mum to cut them off for us.
Then Tag Team Turmoil got underway right away. New Day versus Viking Raiders, which is really good.
This was great.
Yeah, pretty good. New Day beat them. Then it was New Day versus Veer and Jinder. Commercial break, came back. Woods rolled up Jinder right away. Jinder getting pinned.
Pinder.
Pinder Mahal.
Oh yeah, his stock has dropped like a bad habit in WWE right now. Following SummerSlam, even the build to SummerSlam where they couldn't win against, they weren't having, well, they were still winning because they were winning by DQ or some nonsense. But Jinder's an afterthought now.
Then New Day beat Lucha House Party. Nothing to write home about. It was pretty quick. Another, I think Woods won everything with a roll-up. And this is when Retribution come in. Do nothing in the match. Woods rolls up Mace, and then Retribution are annoyed.
Wasn't it T-Bar?
I have no idea.
I think Dijak is T-Bar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Dijak, because he escaped Feast Your Eyes.
And then...
I don't know why I'm correcting you. It doesn't matter.
Then Retribution, who aren't even called Retribution, get annoyed. They beat everything up. This we've already talked about. Mansoor and Ali come out. They do some nice character work. Lay everyone out. And this is the bit when you're like, oh, cool. Now everyone's going to have a match, and they're sort of my leg's done, but my arm's done. They've all got all these injuries. No, this is where Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce say, well, let's take a break on this. And we'll have the rest at the end of the show.
See you in 90 minutes, folks. Yeah, it was. I think it was a mistake to break the two things up. But I will say, this is the best that Retribution have looked since whatever. I thought the beatdown that they did on Ali and Mansoor and the New Day was genuinely quite good. And I thought it made them look really impressive. I mean, it's going nowhere because they'll probably just do them versus Mansoor and Ali again next week.
Or New Day.
Yeah, or New Day, yeah. Either works, I guess.
After that, we got Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre in a #1 contenders match for the US title. Great match.
Great match.
Couldn't care less.
Oh, yeah, and it's... Sheamus wins. So, again, it's Sheamus versus Priest at the pay-per-view. I've seen that match so many times. And it's going to be good. It's going to be really good because it's always really good. But do you know how I know it's going to be really good? Because I've seen it a lot in the last few weeks and months.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready for them to move on to something else. And actually, like, adding Drew into all of this, I was like, oh, wow. That's something a bit different, actually. Something a bit spicier now. It's going to be quite exciting and quite good. Nope, we're just going back to Priest versus Sheamus. I mean, like, Priest cuts his promo. It's just like, well, yeah, I mean, I've beaten Sheamus before, so I guess I'll just beat him again.
Literally beat them both last week in a triple threat match. I don't get why, you both lost last week. Drew, you even got pinned. So now you get to have a match to see if you can go one-on-one with them. It's not exciting at all. Just to give the match some actual credit, though, like the wrestlers, they worked really hard. They've wrestled so many times this year, yet they're still finding new spots. Drew hit out the busted out the white noise at one point. Goes to a Yebu spot on the floor. Drew rips off Sheamus's protective mask. So hopefully that's the end of that gimmick now.
I mean, Priest did the same thing at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not into it.
I don't like the face mask thing. It's not working.
It doesn't make sense. I'm like, what are the rules? If it hurts someone else when you use it, it should hurt you as well. Yeah, because you've got the broken face.
But I think the idea is that he hasn't got a broken face, but he's
still on his head though.
Well, I know, but that's the thing. I think it's like, the D'Lo Brown chest protector. But like he was using it like even after his chest had healed, but like it was this sort of padded things when he would do the frog splash. It'd be like, oh my god, with the chest protector and all this sort of stuff. But Sheamus isn't headbutting people for finishes, so it's not like he's even using the mask as part of his repertoire.
Drew rips it off. He puts it like really nicely and neatly on the turnbuckle. Turns around into that great pump knee that we've seen. Oh no, or was it? No, it was a straight up bro kick. No, it was a roll up. And
he hooked the tights to get the win.
Wins.
And then Drew, after the match, laid him out with the Claymore so no one gets over. Drew is 100% going to SmackDown.
Yeah. Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash. Nikki, almost a superhero. Nikki, almost a superhero. Are backstage. They're doing an interview. And Rhea, I like Rhea. She is so crap on promos. Yeah. She wasn't this bad.
In NXT? Oh, no, absolutely
she wasn't stellar in NXT.
No, but she wasn't this bad.
But she's so bad. And Nikki, bless her, is really trying, she's doing this super brutality. That's what she wants to get over as their joint catchphrase, because they're a team now, remember. And Rhea is just not hitting a single note that she needs to.
Yeah.
She's doing the smirky thing. And I'm like, your role is to be annoyed with her.
Yeah, she is so bad. I think Natalya is backstage going I'd work on that if I were you.
Well, they come out, they have a match with Natalya and Tamina. When did Natalya come back?
Weeks ago.
All right.
Ages ago. She was on SmackDown, losing again to Nox and Shotzi.
I only watch Rampage on Saturday. And they had a match. Nikki got worked over for most of it. Ripley won with a riptide on Natalya.
I don't know why you're downplaying this so much. This was a championship contenders match. The gimmick returns after we thought it was dead and lost to time. It's back once again like a renegade master, and it means nothing still. Because
I've got a match next week.
But why haven't Shotzi and Tegan Nox had actual shots at the belt? Because they have pinned the champions 3 times now. So as a viewer,
they championship contenders matches?
But as a viewer, why should I get excited about almost a superhero Nikki, almost a superhero Rhea Ripley pinning them? Because these other girls pinned them 3 times and got nothing out of it. So why should these women get something out of it?
Because Super brutality!
They like an odd couple gimmick. Yeah, it really feels as that like Vince has no idea that Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart have pinned them 3 times. And he's just like, I really like Nikki Ash, so I want her to be the one to get this pin. I wouldn't be surprised if we never hear about the fact that Tegan Nox and Shotzi pinned them 3 times.
Charlotte Flair does an interview backstage.
One other thing I would say. Shout out to Nikki Cross with the Daphne armband. I thought that was a nice little touch.
Charlotte has an interview backstage ahead of her match with Nia and Jax. Because, of course, they fought last week. They're fighting this week. Corey Graves called last week's match here Next Level.
Yeah.
Interesting. Moist TV has a new set. It's not in the ring now. It's backstage. It happened earlier today. It's sort of John Morrison sitting down with some, well, we call them dicks in our family. You know the long floats, like the long cylindrical floats?
Yeah, I believe a noodle.
A noodle.
Yeah.
Yeah, we call them dicks.
Oh, do you know?
Because it's, as kids, we thought it was funny to put between our legs. Dicks!
Yeah. Your mum says it as well?
Yeah, well, honestly, we all do because it just became a part of. And then whenever we went elsewhere, my mum would, don't call them dicks. Like when we went to out with my grandparents, don't not in front of your grandma.
Anyway, yeah, he was surrounded. So he was surrounded by dicks and other inflatables.
Well, you know, given the gimmick, given that outfit, I'm not surprised.
No, neither am I. This was. What was it? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it nothing? Do I feel bad for Karrion Kross? Not really. I mean, John Morrison's babyface push has, pardon the expression, been a wet fart thus far because he's lost twice now.
Moist.
And it's just like they've moved it into a backstage thing, so they're not even giving him like live mic time. Karrion Kross cutting a promo with John Morrison's music playing underneath.
Oh, that was annoying.
It was annoying, wasn't it? Because John Morrison's music has lyrics. So it was really irritating, in fact. Fail.
It was just there. You know, Kross was in a suit, didn't quite understand that. I was like, so what is your character? You a businessman in the day? Sexy gimp wrestler by night?
Well, it's because he's still you got to work the NXT out of them because he was told to show up for a promo thing. So he was like, oh, of course I need to wear my suit then. And then he showed up and I was like, what are you doing?
What's all these dicks here?
Can't sell a toy of this. Who do you think you are? Vince? Get the gimp suit on.
But maybe the action figure will have a suit.
A suit accessory.
Yeah. You can put it on him. I thought, you know, Morrison's like, what's next for you? And Kross said, I'm going to make you suffer. They have a match in the ring, and Kross, he looked good. He destroyed Morrison in a couple of moves, choked him out. But yeah, Morrison, well, he was meant to be having a grudge match payoff against The Miz, but now The Miz is going to be on Dancing with the Stars.
Is he really?
And stuff, so I don't think he's going to be around for a while.
Oh, so Morrison can just lose a bunch of matches. Maybe he's going to go to SmackDown as well, and they'll just keep the two apart.
I think probably the case, yeah.
I find Karrion Kross to be a funny one, really, because he was talking to Morrison in this promo, and in his promo it was like, I'm going to kill you, or whatever it was. Like, well, he can't say the word kill, so he's like, I'm going to destroy you, whatever it was. And that got
with this dick.
And that got some boos from the crowd. People were like, boo, he said the thing to John Morrison. He made his entrance, and they didn't react to him whatsoever. So I'm like, what do you want, crowd? Like, they gave you a reason to boo him in the promo, and you did. But then when he made his entrance, you're like, oh, I've got nothing to say now.
Who was making the crowd noise? That was a pre-tape.
Oh, you think it was like pressing the button, boo? Because when he came out, it was crickets again.
I don't know. Whenever I go, they're getting a bigger reaction than I thought they would. And my immediate thought is now, because it's a button.
Maybe you're right. I would disagree on the Bobby and Omos thing and Alexa.
Oh yeah,
Charlotte.
No, but I wasn't surprised by that.
Oh, than them getting booed in the backstage segments. Maybe you're right.
Charlotte versus Nia was next. This was just, I mean, it was both better than last week in the fact that it was an actual match that didn't fall to pieces, but that was the only good thing going for last week's match. Yeah. So this was just a, their match. where the start of it is them pretending to have a real fight whilst pretending to have a fight. So they tried to do a work shoot here as opposed to the shooty shoot last week.
Which might have been a work shoot.
But it was probably a shoot.
Well, we don't know. Some people say it was a work shoot. Some people say it was a shoot.
And it stunk of desperation. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, it was. It's amazing. Considering last week, I've got nothing to say about this match. Absolutely not a single thing to say about it.
The Charlotte Nia Jax videos we did last week outperformed our Daniel Bryan reaction video.
Yeah.
It was a big story. People got into it. Anyway, that wasn't... I feel like maybe they were like, we need to get them apart as quick as possible, but we also need to fulfill the prestige of the championship contenders stipulation.
Last week wasn't a championship contenders thing.
It wasn't?
No.
Well,
because we thought the gimmick was dead.
This was for the title here.
This was, yeah, because she pinned her last week. So maybe you have to pin them not in a championship contenders match to get a title shot. But if you do it in a championship contenders match, then it's just like a rankings thing.
So Shayna Baszler was weirdly getting involved throughout this match. Before the match began, she got up onto the apron and said, I just want to say a thing first before you start. I don't think Nia's got what it takes to beat you twice. And Nia's like, why would you say that? Well, it's quite clear why she's said that. She's not saying that as encouragement. And then Shayna's just walking around afterwards, nearly getting involved in spots, and Nia each time is just like, like, why aren't you hitting her?
Because they're best friends.
I saw just last week you hit Charlotte for something, arguably less.
Well, yeah, but they're not best friends though, are they? But like Nia and Shayna have got a bond that cannot be broken.
Fight.
Aside from the fact that they have broken that bond on a couple of occasions now. They broke up and then just were back together again. They didn't do like a get back together angle. They just were back together again.
Well, anyway, skip to the end. Shayna kind of distracted Nia from a non-winning position, not like she was going to win the match or anything. Charlotte hit a natural selection off the second rope, pretty cool, and she won. And then, and then Nia and Shayna just left together. The way that was done makes me think Nia's going to be the face in this Nia versus Shayna feud.
Oh, I think you might be onto something there. Which makes sense because she's talking about butts so much. Have you noticed her new thing is that she's talking as she went talking about Charlotte Flair, she did the exact same promo last week she did this week. She's like, I'm going to take that royal crown and shove it up her behind. I think that's going to be her new thing. It's all about butts. And she's going to be a babyface butt character.
It's only 8 months late after the whole.
Yeah. Well, I mean, WWE are known for their very quick reactions, finger on the pulse and all that. Yeah, I think she could be a babyface butt-based character.
Have you checked your butthole? Skip a butthole. Yes, after that, though, Bliss appears on the screen. She's doing a creepy playground shtick. I'm like, okay, we're going back to this direction. Whatever. I can't believe I'm thankful for the doll feud. Well done. Maybe that was the genius of the Nia match. And they spoke over each other at one point.
Yeah, because Charlotte mistimed her thing.
But then Bliss said her thing again.
I think this was all just a mistimed thing because because Bliss's thing was a pre-taped thing, and they left gaps for Charlotte to respond in. But Charlotte missed all of her cues, so she just talked over Bliss, and Bliss was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't say I'm going to talk over you now. It wasn't like Alan Partridge. I'm just going to talk over you." she just spoke as if they had all the gaps and everything.
Charlotte won't even put over a pre-recorded interview.
That'd be in Jurassic Park when John Hammond talks to the recording of John Hammond on the screen, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, I've got lines here," but he's already missed his first lines. The one on the screen goes, "Oh, I'm fine, thanks for asking." That's what this segment was.
Anyway, Muppet over here, I thought it was a real broadcast. So when the lights went off, I was like, what's going to go on here? And then they come back up, Bliss is standing in the ring. I'm like, well, how do they do this?
I thought, because when they started talking over it, I was like, okay, so it's a pre-taped thing then. And when she was like, I'm going to bring the playground to you, I was like, it would be pretty rad if they actually had the playground set on stage, when the lights came back up. But we're not in the Thunderdome anymore, kid, so she just stood in the ring on her own.
But the crowd popped massively for it. And they worked this stupid idiot here as well. And Bliss was just Charlotte's like, what do you want? And she's kind of no-selling the fact that this person just appeared. Curious to see how much Charlotte will play ball here.
Well, this is what we said a couple of weeks ago, didn't we, when they first teased this feud, being like, Charlotte Flair does not strike me as the sort of person that will get into puppet-based nonsense. Like, she won't do that Shayna Baszler shtick, where, like, running backstage and being scared of the doll in the mirror. Like, Charlotte Flair ain't doing that.
Well, I'm now really excited to see her put in these situations, personally. And yet, Bliss pointed at the title. That's what I'm here for. Crowd popped massive. So it worked. I thought it worked.
Absolutely, could not agree with you more. Like this, the crowd. You've always got to go with what the crowd tell you, and this crowd reacted huge to this.
Reggie took on Akira Tozawa for the 24/7 title, an actual match for a change. Beat him in a few flips, and then the undercard rundown to chase.
Oh man, poor undercard here.
They come down to chase him off, and you're like, well, yeah, Humberto Carrillo, check. Cedric Alexander, check. Jeff Hardy?
Yeah, Jeff Hardy beat Karrion Kross. Twice,
the NXT
I think.
champion.
I think, actually, it might still be, yeah. Poor old Jeff. Jackson Riker was down there as well.
That's criminal.
So there's his big babyface push down the drain. Yeah. Sad to see them all there, but this did lead to the big return of the show. Could have been the thumbnail, really.
I know. AEW raise you, Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole, Ruby Soho, Minoru Suzuki. However, WWE has a Drake Maverick. Which, I must admit, I popped for.
Same here, because so like the 24/7 title division has been the same since it started, which is R-Truth does comedy. And it's been the same for the last 18 months. R-Truth does comedy with Akira Tozawa. There was a period of time where he was doing comedy with Drake Maverick. Now it almost feels like this is like Marvel, like if you brought back a Phase 1 property into Phase 4, and like they're interacting with all these new characters, and you're like, oh man, what's going to happen when Drake Maverick does a comedy segment with Akira Tozawa? Yeah. How's he going to react to the flips of Phase 3 introduced Reggie?
And Jeff Hardy.
Oh, well, Jeff's just there to make up numbers. Like, it's just that foursome, that comedy foursome going over that title. But like, Drake Maverick has got incredible comedy chops, which is something that Reggie does not have. Reggie can do the flips, but cannot do the comedy. So I think Drake can sort of bridge that gap a little bit.
Genuinely quite fun. Really enjoyed the reveal. And then R-Truth said to him, why are you here? You should go back to your wife. And Drake just like smirked. So I don't know what that means.
Maybe he's going to be like a manager of Reggie or something.
Or maybe he's going to bring his wife in to be... She's a wrestler as well. Can't remember her name.
Renee Michelle.
The
question would be, though, why?
Oh, why anything?
No, I think Drake Maverick is going to position himself as the manager of Reggie. And he's going to be like, because he doesn't really need to help Reggie or anything, because Reggie can just flip his way out of these situations. But his idea is that I can pin him while he's asleep. That's the only way to get the belt off of him, because you can't flip when you're asleep.
But if anyone can, it's Reggie. Or Pete. And then Dewdrop's backstage. She challenges Eva Marie to a rematch, despite not having a first match.
Yeah.
Is it a rematch?
Well, yeah, if you didn't have the first match. And it would make me go like, well, you're an idiot then, because you could have just had that match last week and you opted not to.
And the final bit was the rest of the tag team turmoil match. Any more points on any of that? I think we covered that.
I think we covered that pretty much. Let me have a quick look at my notes. No.
Well, so overall, what would you give this episode? I gave it a 3 out of 5 because I thought, compared to the rest of this year's Raws, it was okay.
2 out of 5 for me.
Really?
The shows are fine. And they are it's not as bad as it has been in previous weeks, so it's not 1 out of 5, but it's still not a good show. So 2 out of 5, maybe a low 3 because, some of the tag wrestling was pretty good. Having said that, I don't think no matter what Raw does at this point, it's not going to switch our audience, because our community poll, 47% gave it 1 out of 5 Rawful.
Whoa! This is fascinating. And, 5 out of 5, 4 out of 5, don't care about. But 3 out of 5, 24%. 2 out of 5, 22%. That is not the way it should go. We usually see this on AEW things. 1 out of 5, 47%.
Yeah, nearly half of the votes went to 1 out of 5 Rawful.
That to me looks like an AEW hangover.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Yeah, that feels like people was like, well, we didn't get a Bryan Danielson debut or an Adam Cole debut, so 1 out of 5.
Yeah. Wow, interesting stuff.
Thanks.
Well done for your part.
Thanks, mate.
Let's say thank you to our wonderful pledge hammers on Patreon right now. At $25 a month or more, they get a special Patreon shout out and wrestling nickname in our Hall of Fame. Thank you. He can last Sean for longer than you in the ring.
The Cleaner, Kenny Shaw.
Gavin Cash Money Kashiwabra.
Rob Steiner Recliner.
Hannah Allen Key.
Oh, that's a good one. Rue the Day, Ruari O'Brien Kelly.
The Knight Rider Kit.
Blompier's #1 fan, Tom Delves.
Vita Ventura, Pet Detective.
Kenny, everybody's got a price, Bryson.
Bobby G in the house.
And lastly, for this episode, for the Hall of Fame class, the 7th of September 2021, Michael Jensen Radio. Thank you all so much. Tomorrow, Ollie and I are recording in advance because I may have to take a few weeks off because of my impending child.
You will have to.
I will have to take a few weeks off, yeah. So we're trying to record the September WrestleTalk Extra early so we can get it out to you early so you at least get one for September. That's with me and you don't have to suffer Pete. And we are doing, because you voted for it, Ring of Honor All-Star Extravaganza from 2016. So it's like NXT is almost on its rise, like it's starting to reach sort of its apex like version of itself. Adam Cole is there, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Hangman Adam Page. It is the Young Bucks, the Motor City Machine Guns, Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels. A hell of a lineup.
A lot of New Japan talent at the time as well.
Yeah.
Naito's there, Bullet Club music everywhere.
A very, very young Jay White with terrible hair.
This is like the start of All In.
Yeah, yes, it really is. It's a fascinating time to look back because it's a show where you look at it and be like, there is no stopping Ring of Honor. Like they're going to be the biggest company. They're going to be the biggest alternative competition.
They're going to be the biggest lower mid company.
Yeah.
Yeah, so please do go over to WrestleTalk.com/Patreon to get that first. Let's get over to the rest of your Ultra Chats. Gregory Nelson. I'll be at next week's Raw in Boston. I'm excited to see Omos in person. Have you seen how tall he is?
Might be the biggest man I've ever seen.
Cymru
Cymru Punk. It's Welsh.
How do you take a gauntlet match, something that should give structure to a show, and somehow create something even more disjointed than normal? Found it incredibly frustrating to watch. Justin W. Pringle, how many times will we see Jax Baszler break up? It's been once a week for the last 3 weeks, and all the times prior to that. Now it's Bliss versus Flair. No thanks. I truly feel bad for Bliss. She's trying to make chicken salad out of chicken poop.
I mean, Justin, I think it's working. I think she's making it work, and I think it's I mean, apparently the Lily merch sales were so good over SummerSlam weekend. So don't feel bad for her. She has completely made it work.
Kevin, didn't watch Raw, couldn't care less. Insert Pete Dunne shrug picture. Is there anything I need to watch from it? Instead, I'll eat my humble pie after doubting if Allen and Punk would match in the ring. They had a really good fight.
Basically all of the gauntlet stuff. Like if
you actually could watch the end of the gauntlet.
I disagree. I think if you actually watch the first half of it and then skip to the end half of it, remove the Sonya Deville stuff, you might actually have a really nice coherent storyline.
It's like if you watch the Star Wars saga but skip out episode 3.
Why would you skip out?
Or is it episode 2?
It's episode 1 you can skip over because episode 1 does very little to the actual plot.
What's the order called? It's called like the Sledgehammer Cut or something. And you watch New Hope, then Empire Strikes Back, then you watch the prequel trilogy as a flashback for Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe you cut Phantom Menace out of that.
Yeah, I mean, Phantom Menace you can watch because you do get to see Anakin as a boy, but also it adds a lot of questions like, why did he create C-3PO?
Yeah.
And it's also well boring. The problem with that is that you do have to go back and watch Attack of the Clones, which is it's one of the most boring films ever made.
The legit underboss. Nikki and Rhea are the Superman and Lobo of WWE. By the way, Luke, I love that shirt.
Thank you very much.
Superman and Lobo are so much cooler. I guess if you're saying like Lobo kind of looks like how Rhea dresses and Nikki is a superhero, you're right there. GC, if there's no authority figures in WWE, who makes the picks for the draft? The robot does.
Yeah.
It's the networks was the last kayfabe.
But they do have authority figures. It's Pierce and DeVille.
They're not authority figures. Can they just have a Wheel of Fortune scenario? Top picks like Reigns, Bobby, and Lesnar are 1,000 points all the way down to Bankrupt, aka Jackson Riker. Les Dennis as guest host.
Is Les Dennis still alive?
I don't know.
Because I just read that then and I was like, is Les Dennis still with us?
We can see someone Googling it.
No, he is. Yeah, he is.
Salvation awaits. I had an epiphany watching Raw last night. AEW and WWE are not the same.
What?
WWE's like the Looney Tunes, targeting children and such, thus the supernatural stuff, while AEW is like anime. AEW targets their product towards older, more mature people. Thoughts? Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we've been saying forever. The problem is, WWE's audience is older, mature people.
Yeah. It's men over 50 is their like biggest audience.
Mr. Gajilli, hi guys, you know last week you said no one was into the Charlotte and Alexa match? Tell this crowd. And Sean Ross Sapp, who tweeted how much he admires Alexa's ability to get things over. It may just be this crowd, but I think the bigger audience wants this rare match.
It's not that rare a match. I'm pretty sure they've had it 1,000 times. But yeah, like we said, you always go with what the crowd is into.
I guess in this gimmick version. Yeah, well, you know, in this one moment, it was good and it was over. Everything else has been bad.
Yeah, and also
we've got to see how the Lily Doll factors into it, because if you start getting the winks again,
that's when it's bad.
Charlotte's not going to cooperate.
Yeah, and what we've been saying as well is we're going by what our audience reaction is. And that's our audience is a small bubble, and no one in our audience wanted to see it. But that's, that's you take a sample section from.
I also think it's crap. Alpaca Nation 87. Hello, gents. Do you think Orton has a chance of capturing the title at Extreme Rules?
No.
Well, if you're... I like your idea, though.
Thanks, mate.
Bobby and MVP win the tag straps. Randy wins the title. Riddle's like, maybe you are a solo guy.
No, I don't think he's got a chance of winning.
No, there's no chance. There's storyline potential.
Yeah.
Also, hopping mindset-wise to AEW for a second, everyone just wants to talk about AEW. Who do you think is next for Punk? Does he continue the association with Alan Sting or move on to settle scores?
I think they will do a 6-man tag on an episode of Dynamite or something. Probably Rampage, because that's their new pet project. But it'll be, Sting, Darby, and Punk versus 2.0 and Garcia. It's like a big time thing. Then Punk probably will move on to the whatever's next for him. But who is next for CM Punk?
God, there's something in me. Not Orange Cassidy. I kind of want Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
As a little filler between feuds. Maybe a #1 contenders match with Hangman Page at Full Gear.
I do like, I've said that I think him going against Page would be really interesting because you can play off the whole sobriety aspect of it, with which works so amazingly with Page's character.
I think Punk has to turn heel.
That's what I was going to say. It only really works if Punk is full on straight edge heel for that to work.
Fascinatingly, I'm listening to Brian's autobiography at the moment, just because I thought it would be interesting considering the AEW debut.
It's Brian Danielson there, it's not Brian Alvarez.
Brian Danielson, yeah.
Not Brian Alvarez's.
And the bit I listened to on the way here, he's talking about how much he enjoyed wrestling Punk during that stint in WWE. And he said, unfortunately, even though we had great chemistry, I don't see us ever wrestling again.
Oh, look at us now. Well, look at us now. Who'd have thought we'd get here, right?
Dean Barretton. The treatment of Hardy has contributed to the negative response on the reviews, even though he has been doing nothing for 2 years. In terms of Kross, are you telling me he is basically Patrick Bateman from American Psycho, returning videotapes then?
Oh, I don't think he's Patrick Bateman from American Psycho whatsoever.
No.
Aside from the fact he wore a suit.
Because he wore a suit, yeah, no. The treatment of Hardy has contributed to the negative response on the reviews?
I think that's just because no one's interested in Jeff Hardy at the moment.
Yeah. I'll hot tag to you for the final bit.
Charles Berg, poor review. Obviously, still can't put up the images. This is Sadie, and I'll be honest, Charles, we probably won't be able to get the images up.
Anytime soon.
Anytime soon. This is Sadie and Poppy. Sadie is the big one, Poppy is the small one. Poppy is a Yorkie mix, while Sadie is some unknown combo. They're a great tag team. Nicknames, Sadie Sausage and Poppy Pepperoni. Ace of Spades and Jalapeno Popper, 11 out of 10.
Ace of Spades.
Oh, do apologise. He also said, don't worry if you're still unable to show the picture due to technical difficulties. Not really technical difficulties, just that the mouse is over there. It's hard for me to operate a computer that's halfway across the room. I want to reiterate, I'm thrilled for you guys are okay sharing my dogs on a wrestling podcast. And hopefully my dogs help you and the chat smile after a terrible show. Jam that, Jam. It's actually all right. Gary Cox said, hey guys, how can we watch Rampage in the UK? Fight TV. Matt Howard, hey guys, didn't watch Raw as I'm not able to put up with WWE anymore, full AEW mark. Get much more enjoyment out of watching your reviews. Side note, when is Ollie releasing his finance and business lecture he promised us on Sunday? I haven't had a chance to talk to you about this yet, but I was going through the comments, and there was even a poll that you did of just like, do you want us to talk about this show or pensions?
Yeah. Well, I
happened?
can't remember what got me onto it, but I'd had a couple of drinks, and I just started telling people how they should put money in their. I thought maybe cryptocurrency came up. I was like, no, not crypto. Pensions is the surefire way to accumulate wealth into your old age. Yeah. It's not sexy, but it's the best thing.
I'm currently going through I've got a kid on the way, right? Yeah. I'm currently, my wife and I are doing the same thing. We're consolidating our pensions that I've accrued over various companies into one place. I should have done this years ago, absolutely years ago. Thankfully, I've got a very good pension here, and I've got a very, very nice setup with you guys. So I'm feeling very confident going into my old age, but that is because of my pension choices.
And the earlier you get started, the better. I wish I knew this when I was 20.
Oh, if I'd have done this when I was 20. Granted, I never had a job that would have given me a pension when I was 20.
But you could set up your own. There's so many things to talk about with pensions. But yeah, I just started talking about this. And then Pete was like, shut up, Ollie. Pay attention to me. Like, be more responsible with your money, Pete.
Pete won't be saying that in 10 years' time.
Yeah. And then we ran a poll, and it was legit 50-50.
See, but here's the thing. I enhanced that poll, like the image that the mod mother had taken of it. Pension chat was actually slightly ahead, which suggests to me it was 50.5 to 49.5.
Love a Brexit vote. So not anytime soon, but if anyone needs help, I will offer information for, what's the word, entertainment and information purposes only. I'm not an expert.
Yeah,
I've got to say.
Also, me and Ollie had such a sexy chat before SummerSlam, where I said to him, I was like, oh, mate, I need to talk to you about death in service and what that means for my pension.
Yeah, can't wait to do the stream now, Luke.
By the way, I still haven't had that chat with you. Oh, it's me, isn't it? Sorry, I'm doing the chats. Hold on. Where did I get to? Salvation awaits. Hey, guys, think you missed my Omega chat earlier in the show. Used to be an Ollie Davis mark, might start being a Chopper Pete mark. Still can't believe it's his birthday again already. It would have been if it's over a $5 amount. Would have been the reason why we might have missed it, unless our moderators can go through and see if they can let us know about that. CJ Lilly, have you seen the BT ad for WWE where they have Adam Cole still promoting NXT? You must think he works for them and shocked that he isn't. Don't be shocked. Don't be shocked. This isn't Alexa related. They'll be back soon, as either she'll be champion in Extreme Rules or perhaps freed of Lily. That BT ad will have just been in place for months.
I opened up Raw on the BT Sport Player today, and the thumbnail was Becky Lynch.
And it's not even new Becky Lynch. Yeah. It's Becky Lynch from like 2 years, 3 years ago. Because like TV doesn't. People who show WWE don't watch the product, so they like Sky Sports had the same like images of wrestlers and the same like text for wrestlers for like 20 years.
They custom thumbnails are how you get people to click on things. I'm actually surprised streaming services don't do that for their live shows.
Netflix do.
Yeah, but like the other ones.
And thank you to Rob the Jobber for becoming a member. Thank you so much. And that is Mod Note said for Salvation Awaits, first chat wasn't read out before the play-by-play.
Wasn't read out? Or maybe it was just moved down? I don't know.
No, I mean, we've read all the ones that are in this document.
Well, tell people where they can get a geology.
No, we did read it out. It was the one that said I had an epiphany watching Raw last night. WWE and AEW are not the same.
Oh, yeah.
We did read that one out. Sorry for the confusion, everyone. Here's what I want to talk about, though. Geology. Click the link in the video description down below, take the quiz, and when you've got your regimen picked out for you, use our promo code WRESTLE50 and get yourselves 50% off your first order. Good crikey, what a deal. Look how great Ollie Davis looks. Look at those brows.
It's not focusing on me, but trust me. No, actually, it is focusing on me, but it's it's made my skin so smooth, it looks blurry.
Oh, it's such a great service. Please do click the link. It really supports, helps support this channel. It supports Geology as well. Thank you so much to Geology for being a sponsor of the WrestleTalk podcast today. Ollie Davis, do you want to do any plugs?
No, it's focused on me now. Oh, go over to No Rolls Barred, subscribe there, because we've got the first new look in-person board game club going live later today. And yeah, go to Geology as well in the link in the video description below. But now, for now, that's the Raw review. Go watch the WrestleTalk news. Jam that jam.
Jam that jam. Oh my god, he ate my fist!